Hey everybody, welcome back to the Storytime channel. My name is Steven, and let's get into our stories of the day. Entitled Mother steals my shopping cart. Entitled Daughter gets mad. This happened a month ago. Alright, here is some background. Me and my mom are both essential workers. My mom is a supervisor at a homeless shelter in New York City, and I babysit for one of her employees. The baby is 6 months old and therefore is in a high-risk population for COVID-19. I am also in a high-risk population because I have asthma. My family shops at Costco's because we have a 5-person household. My mom is a single mom with 4 kids, and buy all of our food wholesale. My mother was a germaphobe years before the pandemic started, so she carries around hand sanitizers and Clorox wipes everywhere she goes. So about a month ago, me and my mother set out to go to Costco's as we do every week. My mother brings her own Clorox wipes to wipe down the shopping carts because the people wiping down the carts at the front door don't change their wipes and they are always visibly dirty. Not faulting Costco's, they are doing their best. As soon as we walk in, I see a large teddy bear that I saw last week that I really wanted and didn't have the money on me to pick it up. I got paid earlier that day, so I had the money for the teddy bear on me, so I picked it up that day. As I was about to put it in the cart, my mother told me to hold it because the carts are dirty, and my mother only wiped off the baby seat in the cart and the cart handle. So we continue our journey around Costco and start picking up our items. We got some mushrooms, orange juice, a bunch of fruit, and 2 types of milk because I'm lactose intolerant. At this point, the cart is about halfway full, and my mother leaves the cart with me outside the freezer section so she can pick up the veggies. I turn around to look for these portable cups of guacamole that Costco has, and when I start to walk back to the cart, I see that a woman has our cart. I start looking around to see if maybe she moved my cart and that was her own, but there were no abandoned carts around. I start staring at our cart and start recounting all the stuff we picked up so far. Then I saw my mother's plastic bag that she left her purse, Clorox wipes, and Lysol in, so I realized this was my cart. Excuse me, that's not your cart. Entitled Mother looks at me like I have 5 heads. That's my cart, can you please let go of it? Entitled Mother blinks at me and doesn't respond. Ma'am, that is not your… Entitled Mother puts her dirty butt leather purse on top of our strawberries and starts to walk away with my cart. At this point, I'm freaking pissed, so I run over to the cart and stop the cart with my leg because my hands are full, and use my authoritative voice that I used when children were misbehaving back when I was a camp counselor. Please step away from the cart, it is not yours. Entitled Mother snaps out of a daze. What are you talking about? Pushes the cart onto my leg. Look down, this isn't your cart. Entitled Mother looks startled, picks up her purse and walks away. Me sighs and puts down the guacamole and begins to switch out the strawberries Entitled Mother put her purse on. Enter Entitled Daughter. Entitled Daughter yelling, "Did you just scream at my mother?" No, she tried to take my cart and I told her to stop. Entitled Daughter still yelling, she said that she is sorry, next time don't scream at her like that. Me steps back from Entitled Daughter. I didn't scream at her and I really don't care. Please leave me alone, it's over now. I think it's a good time to note that Entitled Daughter and Entitled Mother didn't have their mask on, even though that it was state ordinance to wear masks in public and Costco's policy to wear masks while in the store. Entitled Daughter was getting in my face while yelling at me. My mom comes back with all the veggies she picked up and starts unloading them into the cart. While she's unloading the veggies, I explain to her what just went down and ask her to wipe down the cart again. Entitled Daughter screaming at me across the aisle, she said she was sorry. I say, I don't care, I wasn't talking to you, please leave me alone. Entitled Daughter yells, don't be rude, little girl. Mom says, I'm sorry, she can have a rude tone sometimes, but she was just telling me what happened so I can wipe down the cart. Entitled Daughter says, do you think we are dirty or something? At this point, my mom tells me to ignore her and she wipes down the cart so we can go on with our shopping. A few moments later, my mom's friend Steve walks up to us and asked us what Entitled Daughter was talking about. Apparently, Entitled Daughter told Steve, a Costco employee, that me and my mother were harassing her. We explained what happened and went about our day. Entitled daughter also gave me a death stare when I was getting my Costco hot dog after we checked out. Definitely not the brightest display I've ever seen from the entitled mother and daughter, and they're so careless with their actions, both with the card and with the masks. What do you think would have been the best way to handle the situation? Let me know in the comment section down below. My mom turned her guest room into a nursery after I told her she will never meet my child. I am currently pregnant with my first child, and both my mom and stepdad have been terrible to me and my partner the entire time. Told us we would be unfit parents because we aren't married yet, legitimately screamed at my partner for knocking up their little girl, even though we planned the pregnancy. I finally decided to cut contact with them a few months after I found out I was pregnant. Having a child can already be a stressful time, and having them around to make it worse was not something I was okay with. If they can't be nice to my partner, then they don't get to see our baby. Plus, they are the kind of people who don't wear masks in public and actively choose to be in large gatherings with no social distancing, so them seeing a newborn is out of the question. One day, I sent my mom a very detailed email of why she is not allowed to be a part of my life anymore and will not be seeing her grandchild. To make things even better, I also noted that we will be moving across the country shortly after she is born to be closer to other family members. So not only is she cut off, but we are literally moving far away and never coming back. She responds by showing up at our house at 11 p.m. screaming outside our door about how it is her baby and she deserves to be there for it. I tell her to freak off, and eventually she leaves. Months go by and she will text me randomly asking about technical problems with her Wi-Fi router or something and needs help. Little things like that don't mean much to me, and I sent her the info she needed. My cousin also had a virtual baby shower and sent my invitation to my mom's house accidentally, so my mom came by to give it to me. Things slowly came to a point that we were fairly amicable with each other, but I still stood my ground about our boundaries and nothing else had changed. She knew this. Then she sends me a video today that blew my mind. She redecorated her entire guest room to be a nursery, crib, changing table, $400 worth of newborn clothes, toy chest, stroller, a car seat for her car, and the list goes on. In the video, she is in tears saying, "Oh my god, I can't believe my baby is going to be here soon. This is where she will sleep, where I will change her little diapers. These will be her toys." Is she psychotic? Her baby? Sleeping and living at her house? What? So I call her up immediately and I reiterate that we are still moving across the country soon and that she will have no contact with the baby before that. Her response? "Oh, okay, we will see about that." Genuinely confused. What part of "you will have no contact with this baby" does she not understand? Or things will change in the next few weeks when she is born? Is she planning on stealing her from us? I am at a loss for words. I definitely think as soon as she can get out of there pronto. This entitled mother seems a bit psychotic for sure, and I wouldn't put it past her to try to do some shady stuff just to try to get access to that child. Entitled parent thinks I must cater to her needs, gets verbal rundown, and then kicked out of the store. This happened in Germany not too long ago. Keep in mind that there are mostly smaller retailers here and not so much big box stores like in other parts of the world, which means that most small stores don't have dedicated store security. At least I've never seen them. I'm also 21, male, around 5'11". I'm also generally a quiet and respectful man, but tend to have a short fuse about some pet peeves, like strangers touching me or following me around, because I like to keep to myself. Also, I'm really enjoying non-physical confrontation if someone pushes for it, but I wouldn't start drama on my own. On to the story. So I was shopping in a German food store to get some groceries, snacks, and the likes when I ran into an entitled Karen. I was wearing cargo shorts and an AC/DC shirt, so I wasn't exactly looking like a store employee. Never mind that my cart was decently filled with various different items. I was minding my own business when I heard a surprisingly polite voice behind me. Hey, young man." I turn around and see the future Karen, a bit shorter than me, middle-aged, not the special haircut. and a seemingly fake friendly smile. I don't know, just put me off for some reason. Combined with her general nosy, arrogant attitude. Are you looking for something? Yes, go fetch some item for me, please. At least she was friendly about it, but said it as if nothing was wrong with it. I personally never saw an employee at a store like this play fetch for a customer. Most they do is either tell or show you where the item is and you have to get it yourself. Me, trying to smile at her, I'm sorry, I don't work here, but you can find item at location. I then turned around and went on about my day, but I guess we all know that's not the end of the story. After a few steps, Karen flipped a switch and decided to go crazy as I heard her stomping after me. What? Do your job, you worthless subhuman? She actually used the German Nazi term Untermensch, which is a huge no-go in Germany for obvious reasons. You're here to serve me. She growled and grabbed me by the shoulder. Remember, I had a short fuse about being touched? And I don't take too kindly on being berated by rude strangers either. And since Karen decided to push for unnecessary confrontation, I decided that she could get some. Me turning around and smacking her hand away from my shoulder. First, do not touch me. Keep your hands to yourself. Karen decided to interrupt me and get visibly more irate. Shut. I'm not finished. Also, you can go freak right off with that terminology you're using. And even if I worked here, you don't get to verbally abuse workers and treat them like slaves. Do your shopping yourself. I only got louder when she tried to interrupt me because I hate it, so she didn't exactly have a chance to interrupt me. How dare you touch me? Learn some respect. You should help out a single mother. Note, there was no kid around at that time, so I don't know why she said that. It's hard enough for me, so I deserve some nice things. Getting freaked and then dumped by a guy doesn't exactly sound like an achievement to me, and certainly doesn't mean that I have to cater to your needs when I have other things to do. Cameron gasped like a fish, mouth open and stammering. She was so red in the face, I thought she was about to explode physically. I'm still your elder. You should have respect and do as I say. Be grateful for your elders. You certainly look like a mummy, but that doesn't mean I have to treat you with respect. You obviously don't deserve it, and it's ridiculous that you think I owe you anything. Yeah, it kind of went from about me being a store employee to me having to cater to her needs for whatever reasons, although I don't work neither there nor as a personal butler. And that's right when the manager turned the corner. I was surprised Karen didn't scream for one, yet cue the manager asking what the problem is, and Karen explaining that I should be fired for being a worthless human being. She literally told the manager I should not only be fired, but should be put down. Like as if I was an animal with rabies or something like that. What the heck? As you most likely know, the manager told Karen that I did not work here, but somehow Karen still believed that I should be her personal slave or butler for whatever reason, and the manager and I shared a look. After every reasoning with Karen failed, I chimed in. If you don't leave me alone right now, I will call the police. I'm going to leave now. I turned and slowly left, where I could hear manager and Karen still arguing behind me, until manager threatened to call the police if she doesn't leave the store right now. I heard a loud crash and turned my head. Karen had flipped her shopping cart in her rage and power walked out of the store while the manager called for some cleaning staff to help fix the mess. And that's the end right there. No police involved. To my knowledge, could be that Karen got in trouble later over the damaged shopping goods and groceries. No false allegations and no physical violence. I didn't get a coupon or a discount, but that didn't bother me since I'm not about that. I love how she used such nasty terminology and then very shortly afterwards had the gall to say you should respect me because I'm an elder. It goes both ways, lady. Entitled dad tries to steal cab from my disabled mother. This all took place last winter, but I just remembered it. My mother is disabled and uses a wheelchair, so we are often given extra help navigating airports. We usually leave her personal wheelchair at home when we fly because it's a witch and a half trying to transport it, and our extended family has a spare chair for her to use when we visit. One time, we were told that we would be put at the front of the cab line because my mother was using one of the airport wheelchairs and they try to free those up as soon as possible for other disabled travelers who might need them. The skycap, like a bellhop but for airports I think, took our luggage so I could push my mom and took us to the front of the line. This airport was near DC, so they have different taxi services depending on if you want to go into the city or to Maryland. The skycap took us to the very front of the line, asked us where we were going, into the city, then walks away so that he could find a free cab from the back of the line for us. We did not steal this man's long-awaited cab. Beside us was a family with 2 little girls. The entitled dad looked pissed and kept shooting me and my mother dirty looks. My mom was tired from traveling and pretty checked out. Otherwise, she probably would have given up the cab to appease this clown. She's nice like that. Luckily for her, her daughter isn't. The sky cab led the cab past the line of other cabs and gestured for it to pull up in front of us. Immediately, the family cuts past us and the entitled dad starts loading up his luggage while his wife and kids avoid eye contact and get into the car. I was in disbelief, expecting the skycap to say something, but he just stood there looking uncomfortable. "Excuse me, that's our cab?" Entitled dad giving me another nasty glare. "We were in line first." We were taken to the front of the line because my mother is disabled. There's no way he didn't see her, she was sitting right beside me. "My family had been waiting for 15 minutes for this cab." Me, gesturing at the skycap, he brought this taxi over specifically for us. Entitled dad ignores me. Cabby says, "Where are you headed?" Entitled dad says some random Maryland address. Cabby says, "Sir, this cab only goes to DC. You'll have to get another one." I gave him the smuggest look I could muster and helped my mom from her chair to the car as he unloaded all his luggage. The skycap didn't help him, and neither did his wife. Then he and the cabbie started loading up our bags for us, while the entitled dad hauled all his luggage back to the cab literally right behind ours, which he could have waited 30 seconds for instead, but someone else had grabbed it while he was busy being a tick. I feel bad for the wife and kids because they obviously knew that entitled dad was doing some shady stuff. Revenge is a dish best served cold. This happened in about 2004 when I finished my teaching certificate and started working in an elementary school. Even though the town is in coastal California, the school was very poor compared to others in the district. I was put in charge of the gifted and talented GATE classes for a small stipend in addition to the reading remediation classes I taught. We had zero funding and I needed to fundraise to do activities. The majority of the kids were English language learners and I was able to use testing scores as well as nonverbal testing to determine potential in non-English speaking kids. It was a great group and I loved working with kids who were dismissed by their teachers for not understanding the class that they were, in fact, very smart and capable. The awesome principal gave us lots of ideas about fundraising possibilities, and first we went with selling ice cream floats on Friday. I put out the word to parents for donations and was all set. Friday comes, almost the end of school. I'm waiting for the donation of root beer and the entitled parent walks in empty-handed. She is a white upper middle class woman who has been very braggadocious all year about her great kids. It seems that the 5th grade teacher had been selling ice cream on Fridays to exclusively benefit his class and was mad that anyone horn in on his exclusive Friday space. The principal had given us permission to fundraise, but he was not having it. "Out of respect for Mr. Butthead, I will not be bringing you any supplies," she said. I was stunned. I started crying, but she just stuck up her nose and turned around. I told my coworker and she said she would set up and start. If I bolted to the store and back, we could start just a few minutes late. I bolted as bolty as I could bolt through tears and made it back in time for a swarm of slightly confused kids. I discussed it with the principal and she was furious at entitled parent and the butthead teacher. She told me he had run of the ship long enough and from now on there would be a Friday sign-up that she would approve personally. Now for the revenge. I was still in tears and felt broken down. I told my dad and he was furious too. He's a bit of an in-dad, but no one messes with his baby girl, except him. We talked about it and he hatched a generous plan to, at least, not let the butthead win for another week. I discussed it with my principal the next day and her eyes lit up. We are starting a new program called Character Counts at the school. This will be perfect. So the next Friday, everyone in the school got a free ice cream because, as the slip of paper that was given with every pop said, character counts. A very generous community member has donated ice cream to you in the spirit of generosity. Generosity is the first of our 4 character traits we will focus on this month. Be good to each other. I help hand out to every student in the school and we're super excited that they could save their little bit of money for another day. I ate a pop and glared at Mr. Butthead. I guess it's more of a petty revenge, but it was 2 entitled parents, a parent and teacher. Best feeling ever. And screw you, Kathy. If there is one thing that I would expect almost anybody to be able to let slide, it would be a fundraiser for children. But nope, Kathy continued to let all of us down. But with that being said, that's all the stories we have for today. So what I want to know is, which of these stories was your personal favorite of the day and why? Let me know which story and why in the comments section down below. And thank you all so very much for watching and listening to the Storytime channel today. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video from the Storytime channel. Thank you all again so very much for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.